online, so we're just going to make sure we've got all the logistics going for that.
Okay, can everybody hear us online?
They're all muted, so
they can answer in the chat.
Okay.
Cool.
So the first few slides we'll go through this morning, just some logistical stuff. We'll go through the agenda so you know what we're going to be talking about today. A couple people were already asking, but if anybody's looking for bathrooms, they are this way and around the corner.
To the right.
Other logistical stuff. We need to go through it. I don't think so.
I think we're pretty good. So good morning, everyone. My name is Erica, and I've been working with the EIR program for the last 3 years. I'm very happy to have Becky here with me. She and I actually go way back to the days when we were engineering students, and we met working on the engineering camp for kids together. So we both have a passion for inspiring young people to consider engineering. Becky actually chose engineering because of one of those programs that she counted as a young person. So she is proof that they work. We'll be talking a little bit more about ourselves, as we will be encouraging you all to do as well a little bit later. But we just wanted to say good morning and thank you all for giving us part of your Saturday. We really appreciate it, and we hope to get good value out of today.
Thanks, Erica. So here's just a quick slide about today. Like we said, we're going to do a little introduction. Who are we? What we do? What role do we play? What our goals are for today. I don't know if we have a feedback survey. We can send it out. Okay. There, just a heads up that there is a feedback survey on the session today, but I think that's something we're going to be sending out electronically. And then social media. So a few of you I know I've sent some emails to, and I think a few of you may already be connected with us on social media, but if anybody is doing any posting today on any of those sites, and we'll go through what they are, we're using the hashtag Team EIR for today, and I guess
in general.
In general, yeah. So we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we have a Facebook page, and the LinkedIn pages are both Engineer in Residence Program, and Twitter is at EIR Program. Question? I think you need a student password to get into the Wi-Fi. Sorry. Yeah. And just save it for later that night. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Erica. So a little bit more detailed agenda here. So we're going to do sort of opening and networking. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the EIR program, give you an intro into that. Eric is going to then talk about some engineering messaging. We're going to have a lunch break about that time. And then we're going to go through this afternoon some tips on building a lesson and some wisdom from some experienced EIRs, some feedback we've gotten, and tried to put it in a format that will be useful for new EIRs and teachers even to use. We've got a couple calls to action for you near the end of the day, and then a wrap up. Okay? So just a little inspirational quote here from Albert Einstein: if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So just something to keep in the back of your mind as we talk through all the different aspects of the items throughout the agenda today. Now, before you all get too comfortable, we thought we would get everybody up and moving and talking a little bit. So we've got an activity for it's going to be a group activity for everybody to try out their engineering skills, I guess. Would you like to introduce the activity, Erica? No, that's okay. Oh, okay. We're going to build structures, I guess. Just structures, right? Who can get the tallest freestanding structure? Yeah. And there's a time limit, right? Yes, we're going to give you a time limit. Are you going to help pass it? Thank you. Yes. Well, I guess they're going to come. What did you just tell me? Okay, I'll tell you. So I'm just looking at the slides that we've got here. Maybe groups of 5
Can you share your presentation slides, the people on the...
Five-ish. I can break you into groups if you'd like, or if you want to just sort of cluster near who you're clustered next to, that would be a good idea. And I'll come around with my bin of newspaper, and you guys can get started.
And the presenter, please share the presentation slides because the people who are on the web meeting can't see anything.
Structure. I don't know if we have a prize for the winner, but we can see.
Bragging rights.
And we're going to give you a pretty tight timeline, maybe 10 minutes. I'm looking for a clock in here. It's 10:15 now, so 10 minutes to build the tallest structure you can with the limited materials you've got. Do you want to do?
Sure. How?
I'm just going to. I was thinking to bring people. Yeah. Well, and then just
Great.
And go. Okay. So we need to think about the edge, right? Do you want to do roll or like on the edge? Start taking everything out. Okay. Oh, on the edge. Andrew, do you want to take should I get it started? And then we see those big so for the bottom, really the I like that's not a very small part. The smallest square we do a triangle, and then we go straight up. That's one of the things we do you made it yeah. There's always a reason I do. Here you go. We're going to need something
Okay. If that's okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, is it going to go up? Okay, so we have a little bit of an issue in that the people that are on here are seeing this screen, not that. Okay, go to screen.
See, this one's saying switchy. No, go again to screen.
Yeah, that should be sharing now.
No, but go to the, it's not giving you the menu options. There should be menu options.
There, now they can see it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you had to hit this button.
Oh, I think I didn't start it until,
yeah. Okay, hi everyone online. This is Erica, and Becky's here too.
Hi.
We've got a room full of people here, and we are very happy to have you online as well. Are you able to see everyone? Can you please let us know that you can see a slide? Right now the slide is not too informative. It just says activity time. So if you are happy to chat amongst yourselves, we can try to turn on the webcam. I don't have experience doing that. There we go. There we are. Hello, everyone online. Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe we can say something, sort of show them what's going on here. You're not going to miss too much of the activity. You're just going to get a chance to see what people are doing, and want to make sure that you get all of the real learning comes in the debrief that we'll do at the end. So no, your structure must be freestanding. You cannot be touching it until we are measuring it.
Back to me.
Yeah. How are we on timing?
We're good.
So how much more time do they have to build? Oh, 6 minutes. 6 more minutes? Okay. There we go. Awesome. If we had given us a list of materials, we could have tried an activity at the same time. That is a really good idea, Scott. Thank you for thank you for giving us that idea.
They're building structures with the goal of, so Sam is asking what they're building. I'm going to give everybody a 5-minute warning. 5 minutes left. Maybe I should turn those hands off.
Oh, yeah.
Their heads chopped.
Does everyone want to see how people are doing? So we've got this team over here using sort of a tabletop structure, very solid, very nice, safe strategy there. This team is going for a bit of an all-or-nothing approach. They're doing something very long and linear, and then they're going to erect it later. You can see some other teams up on a tabletop. They've got a bit of a triangular tower at the bottom there. Some good reinforcing going on at the top. Some look like they might actually reach the ceiling. I did not expect that.
That one's from the floor.
What's that?
That one looks like it's going to reach the ceiling from the floor.
That's awesome. You see over there at the edge, that group of teachers there doing very well. You still have 5 minutes. No, it just needs to be tall and freestanding. Thank you for the clarification question. So part of the point of this exercise was to give them very little time. So we're pushing them to perform under pressure, and we're going to have a bit of a conversation about that. Newspaper and tape, nothing else. That's the last of your tape?
We never got tape.
Oh no, you got tape. I got you some.
Oh my God. Oh my. Sorry. Ah, there we go. We can't go any taller. Okay, we might need to.
I'm actually going to proceed.
Yes.
Sorry, I disconnected you. Okay, so I'm not so interesting to look at, so I'm going to turn off the webcam. People who are on, do you know how to turn off the fan? Yeah. We're going to turn off the fan.
Oh, I keep thinking a little more stable. Yeah, we've got paper.
Okay, 1 minute left. 1 minute remaining.
Okay, go ahead. Nice. Here we can roll on.
We're
They all
showing
have to
a
be
false
wait,
test on it.
they all have to be
when I was
Oh, yeah? It changes. For me, it changes. I don't know when I did it before. All right.
Don't breathe.
I mean, people feel a feeling and then
I measured our base, right? From the ground,
No, they can't
yeah,
get
really, it's part of their structure.
That's the wobbly one. I don't know.
Oh, that's better, yeah.
Oh, good idea.
All right. Team, can I get a team here? All right. Yeah, good job.
Okay,
Look at the concentration.
paper and tape down. Time is up. Paper and tape. All your work, you can put down. Okay, I think for now, everybody, if you can just sort of stay around your structures. And we'll have a look at everybody. Okay.
We're not studying for you. We're not. Or you can come back and okay, breathe in. Okay. All I'm going to do right now is we go around to each group and just have some interaction. Tell us kind of what you thought of the
The foundation is terrible. Yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, I like the flag.
Can everybody see over here? It's a big room, so I know it's a bit tough. So this is going to be back from the activity, things that went well, things that didn't go well.
A great activity is one that I've used in my classroom before was grade 5 students. They love it. Lots of creative things happen. And we talk a lot about what we learned from our failures, so we learn much more from our failures than we do from our success.
What did you think about do you give them 10 minutes like you had, or?
I give them a little bit longer because they really hard time getting started. I also think that we really give them time to plan it and do some positive self-destruction.
Yeah, there's the element of kind of that time pressure and not having time to plan that adds a whole different aspect of the activity. How about in the back here? Is yours on the ground? Yeah. Oh, okay. Erica, is it supported by any of the chairs? No. Very nice.
Very heavy at the bottom.
How did you find the activity in general?
It was good. We quickly realized we were
My inclination as the engineer, I was like, okay, let's draw it out. What are we doing? And I'm like, forgot about it. Just go.
It's kind of funny. I teach really like, I know like, yeah, I can do like older, like grade 5 classes, but in kindergarten, like, yeah, you can be so totally on your play with it. You're going to become a build, right? Like, so then I was just like, I'm sorry. You pick up like this, and then yeah, like, inspired by that.
Now, this one's on this table. So what did you learn from failure? What about the activity in general? How did you find that? Challenging. Yeah. How you can build whole different aspects of that.
It's just an exaggerate cross-section
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Like you have one group that's saying, here, how we can do kindergarten, and then a lot more people.
That would make the children think, that people who can design CN power even higher for them when you start practicing the implementation of the engineering and science and then say, what are we going to take for practice? We have to somehow find a way that way the engineering yeah.
That one in the back kind of looks like a CN power.
Start by liking protect this
Oh my God. So how did you guys find the activity?
Exciting actually, and we have all the years on board. So yeah.
And it's nice to know creativity and
I don't ever get fun.
That's really great.
Yeah.
And now what's going on over here? Another bridge? Another bridge. Everybody's attention over here, please.
We're very big on the training days and trying to go to support that we spent a lot of time down there and actually planning what we got up top. Oh, now. It's heavier than we expected.
Yeah. Time management. It does have a factor in the activity, right? If you planned it out, had more time, it's a little different. Any other comments?
It was interesting to see how many ideas were going, so the other parts, so such a short amount of time that you kind of have to work really close together really fast.
Yeah, and we kind of just threw it together in groups. Like, I'm sure a lot of you don't know each other, so you're working with people that you've never worked with before. So it's a very time-conscious situation.
Yeah, that was neat. We all just created the team.
Very good. Okay, this one almost touching the ceiling. So close, a hair away. I think this might be the winner.
You straight deal probably touch the ceiling.
I'm turning on the webcam so folks online can see.
Yeah.
There it is.
So, tell us about your activity.
We had to modify it on the fly with the bracing on the bottom.
Okay.
We were pretty singularly focused on the guy to be the tallest.
Yeah, it was obviously a very competitive group.
Though it did help to have the cartoons. That helped a lot since it let us get going really quickly.
Good.
Without a lot of changes.
But I could see that it could be the structure which could be used for the film industry. Lights. That would be, create shadow, or, it would be an excellent structure. Because especially with that, we could add some more.
Yeah. You're going to refine it even more.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, as a teacher, too, one thing that occurred to me as we were doing it, we just have the one instruction, tallest. And so you could, obviously, we've used this sort of thing in the classroom, you can, but you can change it, you can do it according to purpose, too. So you can, this was just tallest, but you could add it to something that needed to support something else. You could put in a lot of different variants with the students, and, then they're covering sort of the wider area.
Absolutely.
The idea of what is it, form follows function. So
I'm so glad you said that, Tamara, because I feel like that's actually the entire point of engineering. It's not just can we build something, but how is it helping? What is it doing? Who is it serving? What difference does it make to the people around it? So I think that's a great point to make when you're taking it up with your students, not just the process and the teamwork and all that, the structure, that's very important, but what does this mean in the real world? And how can we help kids really get a little glimpse of that? Wonderful.
Yes, we could put a small camera.
Beautiful.
Okay, and let's go over here to the stairway. Here?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, tell us about your.
It's kind of neat because usually when you teach this kind of thing, you start with you have to design so you have a purpose first, and sort of instruct kids to start there. But we didn't do that at all. We found the materials and we thought we were going to put the other structural components first, and then design.
Yeah, we came up
based on that. So that was kind of.
The drawing was drawn out in class.
Yeah. And then everybody went, oh.
Yeah. It was cool because the last time I did this, it was a room full of grad engineers. And we kind of sat there and tried to design it, and we ran out of time. And we're like, oh. So it was cool to just, just build it, to just have at it. And
it worked pretty well for you guys.
I think we're maybe a foot short.
I think we, given a little more, we could have easily beaten any of them.
Confidence is important.
Yeah,
that's good to see.
And then we have, I think this is our last group, right? I didn't miss anybody? All right. This is impressive looking structure. Tell us about it.
Beautiful.
We have instructional intakes or similar.
Yeah. I'm not an engineer. I'm an EIT. I can't say that.
This is still in strong student structure. So I'm not just all the time. But one thing we also teach is forces. So afterwards we would take like say board and try to do a wind test. That's what fun.
I'm just saying, yours would have fallen down, but ours is. We have a tension base. Like,
Those are the requirements.
But if it's stable.
Yeah, we were thinking about our clients. They said you wanted the tallest one. We said, we'll put the tallest one, but what if it falls over?
Yeah.
Board.
Wow. She brought out some competitive nature.
But it's always good to let kids. It's actually better to sometimes just let them go at it first, then learn from each other, and then you let them plan and design it afterwards and redo it to see if they can learn from each other, learn from the first construction, and then how they can improve on their second construction. So I would say, yeah, I wouldn't give lots of time designing it first. Like, just go for it and learn the type of material. Otherwise, they have to really silly and learn from each other.
And it's, we'll talk about this a little later in the presentation today, but we do try and talk about how we keep the students engaged, and we need to think about different students are learning different ways. So some students might be happy to sit and plan and be the ones to do that, but other ones are going to be bored, so they're going to want to get there and get their hands on and go about it that way. And that will really just having that in the back of your mind when you're doing the activities is going to help you think about how I can engage all the different types of minds that are going in the classroom. Great. Okay, so do you want to leave your structures for now? Yeah.
Can we maybe put them all together? Would that be okay?
Do you think they can be moved? If you think you can move your structures, we can try and put them all over here. You want to try?
Because if it straightens out, that's too tall.
Hi. Oh, that's okay. How are you? I'm Erica. Hey, Mike. You want to grab yourself a name tag and have a seat. We're going to get started.
I don't like to. I don't want your grades. My last year.
So to answer a question that just came through on the chat, I'm not going to have time to type it out, but we... Oh, is it just going through this? Oh, okay. So we have designed the program for both teachers and engineers. So you'll be able to get an idea of what's going on and figure out what you can take into the classroom. We'll cover teaching strategies very lightly. However, we know that the real experts are the teachers. So we're not going to try and recreate a teaching degree in this one session, but we are going to give some tips and tricks for engineers to get started and then let them go from there with their teachers. Oh, good idea. Woo.
I was getting a little worried someone's going to get their head chopped off when you're building your structure.
So I see a couple people have joined us. Welcome. Unfortunately, you missed the fun activity, but you're here just for the meat of the information piece. And FYI, we do have 10 people joining us via webcast. So they are, if you see us trying to plug the computer, we're trying to give them a view of what's going on here in the group. Okay. Oh, no.
Okay, thank you. For those online, one of our structures just took a fall. We're going to spend the next maybe 15-20 minutes just going through just a bit of an intro to the EIR program, giving you some background on the EIR program itself. So you can see from the slide up there, it's an innovative volunteer-based program. We're dedicated to inspiring young people in the area of STEM. It began as a concept in 1997, and it's a collaboration and really focuses on that mentorship between teachers, engineers, and the students. So considering all three of those participants in the program. The EIR program is open to PEngs and EITs that are registered with the PEO, and it's offered free of charge to elementary school and secondary schools across Ontario. There is a link up here with that takes you to the EIR website and tells you a little bit more about the history. So this presentation will be available online afterwards, so you can click through to those links if you're interested. So just a little picture here of some of our participants having fun, some of the kids, engineers, teachers doing some sort of water activity.
Yeah, so that's one of our veteran EIRs, Bob, who has worked for years and years with students, and he and his wife Kathy both volunteer with the program. So we love to see EIRs that come back year after year. You know, most of the EIRs in the room are new. Hopefully that speaks to the quality of the experience that everyone's having in the program, the fact that they come back year after year.
And then just really, we wanted to highlight that this is a flagship education program from the Professional Engineers of Ontario. So they're the ones that are making this possible. Some numbers. So I know lots of engineers in here are going to like the numbers, but hopefully the teachers will appreciate some of these numbers too.
There was a graph.
Yes. So it was piloted in 5 schools, 5 Toronto area schools, and you can kind of see the growth projection through the years here, so extending to 14 schools, and then it was expanded to involve local community, museums, science centers in 2002. In 2014, we were up to 81 EIRs in 75 schools. And then you can see 2015, a little bit more growth. And now we've had a pretty significant amount of growth in the last few years. So we're up to 170 EIRs and 141 schools across Ontario. And I think the numbers have even gone up from when I was pulling them for this presentation. So pretty significant growth, which is the trend that we're pretty happy to see.
So just a quick note on those numbers. You'll notice that the data gets a little better 2014 onwards. That is when we as a team started working on the program. Before that, it was in the hands of a different service provider working with PEO. Just
trying to put some faces out here for you so you can see. And one of the things we want to recognize today is the contributions that all of you volunteers and teachers are making and the impact you're having on the students. So we just wanted to really kind of drive that home and say thank you. And thank you doesn't seem like a big enough word, but you know, just some more faces of the EIR program here, and I don't know another way to say it besides thank you, but keep up the good work, and hopefully we can continue on with that same trend.
So this is an event that happened during National Engineering Month. Does anyone know when National Engineering Month is? March, correct. Very good. So we have not done this for the last couple of years, but if that's something that some folks in the room would like to get going again for this March, we can talk about that a little bit later.
A question, yeah?
Last slide, I don't know if you're talking about, that last slide was they have shirts with the logo on them. Do you have any badges or anything with the logo that we can identify ourselves with the program?
I'm not sure.
That's a good idea. At this point, we don't. What we do have our EIR business cards. I don't know if that would be helpful or not.
Yeah.
We would have received a few of those emails with back to school packages.
Who are we?
Right.
Like a name
like
tag.
A sticker.
Yeah, with just that logo on it.
Right.
And also, somebody's making a presentation. You have a slide with graphic on it that may be used for the first page of the presentation.
We don't, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't get that together for you. Yeah, Becky will be talking a little bit later about the website. Do you want to make those notes?
We'll just take down those notes so we can capture them. Yeah, I mean, those are resources, especially the image of the that we use for the program, that could be made available on the website pretty easily. I'm going to actually ask Erica to talk about the next slide. I just joined the EIR program about a month ago now. So Erica's got a lot more history on it than I do. And so this is a success story from 2015. And so she'll be able to talk to a lot better than I would.
Sure. So this is a school in New York region, I believe, where the EIR was asked by the school to participate in the design and sort of the process of figuring out what would go into a universally accessible playground. So the kids went through sort of a design thinking exercise to talk about the vision of what they wanted to create. I don't have the name of the school on the tip of my brain, but it looks like you guys might recognize it. No?
JRPS?
James Robinson Public School, I think it might have been. So all of this to say that this is not standard issue. This is not generally what EIRs get up to when they go into a classroom, but this is an example of what's possible over time when EIRs and teachers start to really get to know each other and trust each other and try out new things. So EIRs don't think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to design a playground. That's not what we're trying to say. What we are saying is that there are lots of different ways that you and your school can start to work together over time. And this is a really cool example of something that's now going to be with that school for years to come. So the EIR is not just having the day-to-day impact on the kids when they come into the classroom, but they're actually creating something that is now a lasting asset for the school and for the students to enjoy.
Thanks, Erica.
You're welcome.
So some signs of success. So, you know, other than the obvious stuff of seeing the, you know, excited faces, and that's kind of what's mentioned here as one of the points, energy from the kids. That gives you some clues. You're reading pretty obvious body language there that they're excited and they're interested in what we're talking about. Promoting STEM, which Canada, we believe, needs more of. Having kids cheering about the stuff they built. And, I mean, the activity we just did, the feedback I was getting, and Erica, I'm sure, from listening to you talk about it, that to us, we can kind of feel that the energy that comes out of that. A feeling of satisfaction. So seeing how much the children and the teachers appreciate the program and the impact of the program. Having students look forward to the visits. So for the teachers there, you know, having the student, when is our EIR coming back? When are they coming? I have 3 kids myself. I know they can ask over and over and over and over. But that's a great sign of success. Watching students achieve something they've never done before. How rewarding is that, right? Somebody who's been kind of struggling, and then finally getting it, or kind of making a breakthrough, or having that bit of an aha moment. That's so rewarding and a great sign of success. Engaging students in discussion around the curriculum and how it relates to the real world. Just the fact that you're having those discussions and you're able to talk about it in a way and message it in a way that Erica's going to talk about soon is in and of itself a success. Getting students excited about technology and applying it to everyday activities, and finding ways to break down concepts to their simplest components. So again, everybody's learning things different ways, so if we're able to break things down, it goes back to even that quote we had up there from Albert Einstein. You know, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So being able to break things down and the collaboration of the teacher and the engineer and the EIR and even the student working together to say, I think, you know, if you explain it to me this way, or if you explain it to the students this way, that's really going to have more impact. We think that's all signs of success in this program. And all the points up here, I guess, is just a note. These were things this was feedback we got from EIRs that were part of the program in 2014. Okay, so we want to take a few minutes. We don't need everybody to answer here. And maybe, Erica, if you don't mind, can you watch the online comments? If anybody wants to chime in and talk about why they wanted to be an EIR, we'd love to hear some of your stories.
ahead, Donna. I heard what EIR through the newsletter, but I was looking for something with some kind of program like this for a couple of years now. And I came across it. But when I was an undergrad in school, I was volunteering for a part-time job for something similar, which was all about promoting or educating kids about going into post-secondary options like after high school. So I really enjoyed that part of teaching kids and getting them excited about, further education and pursuing education. And I just, this seemed perfect for me when I did the process. I'm really excited to do it.
Nice. It's exciting, right? Yeah. Thanks. Anybody else? Any other EIR?
It's Amalia. So I've been at work for about 4 or 5 years now since graduation, and the most rewarding times at work is when I have co-ops with interns. So I get to show them what we do, how to fix the pump, how to do all these different things. And I can see how, after a few months, they're actually problem solving themselves, it's helpful. And that's been out of anything I've done with my experience. So I wanted to extend that to the younger kids to eventually get there.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is James Walkley. I'm a retired electrical, and my interest was basically started grade 10 on electronics. I would go away for a couple of weeks, and that's the real thing. And all my time in electronics. And yes, we felt class. I really liked it. And later, much later, I worked for also involved it seems like now I'm retired.
Talk about early warning signs.
Is anybody online?
Yeah, there are some things from online coming in. I'm hoping to motivate the girls in our school to feel more able to get into careers which involve STEM. That appears to be it for the moment. Teachers as well. I mean, we shared on the previous slide a couple of ideas of what success looks like for the program. I think we're applying that axiom of begin with the end in mind. What are we trying to achieve here? Obviously, very few of you have any experience in, with the EIR program in the classroom as of now, but what to you could success look like for the program?
I think it's teaching a long time, right? I went through that whole period where the government sort of changed their focus and they said, we don't have to do anything but math and language. And then they took the application of math completely out of that and took all the jobs away. And we went, whoops. More elections went by, and then STEM came out in the United States. We all kind of went, well, no kidding. And so the big push with the board doing that is vastly misunderstood, I think, by most teachers, because most teachers have a background in language or sociology or psychology. So there's that problem. So, we have writers come in, various other professionals coming in. So engineers coming in is, I think, absolutely perfect. That's also really palatable for people who don't value trades. Right? So you have, I don't want my kid to be a plumber, even though that involves massive amounts of science and understanding of materials and all kinds of physics and blah, blah, blah. Also a huge cash income. But it's very palatable for me to want my kid to be an engineer. And I think what we'll quickly realize is that, wow, we've got all these engineers, which is super. We can push our kids through that. And some of the engineers are going to figure out that, hey, we need people that can understand fabrication and all those things. So we'll come back to things that can systemically So this is a critical component. It's all going to happen within 5 years. I'm retiring.
Let's get on it. No, that makes a lot of sense. I've worked as a manufacturing engineer and have so much respect for the type of intelligence as evidenced by the trades. I mean, those people are amazing. The world wouldn't work without them. And as engineers, we're right in the middle. So we're going to talk a little about multiple intelligences. Love where you're going with that. And I think it's great to understand some of the world inside the education system. As engineers, unless you have kids and you're really paying attention, you might not know so much about some of those trends, so it's good to understand it from the teaching perspective as well. Can I read just one or two more, and then we can?
Yeah, and then we'll move on.
I know we want to move. Yeah. So I want to do my part. This is an EIR online. I want to do my part and give back to the community with the skills, knowledge, and experience that I've gained through school and career. So really hearing a service mindset there, which I think is great. I hope to instill interest and motivation to pursue a rewarding career which revolves around STEM.
Great. Okay, thank you for your participation there. Oh, yes. I'm not sure. No, the microphone's not turned on. I don't even know how to. Well, maybe we can try and... I don't even know.
If you open the cabinet,
It's locked.
Oh,
It's locked, yeah. We could just project a little better. Would that be better?
And then do you want to...
Okay.
We can maybe try turning like a bank of fans off. The back one. And that would...
Or if you just want to walk up front and
Yeah.
talk a little louder.
Yeah. We'll try and be louder for now. Okay, some other goals of engineering outreach. So change public perception of engineering and technology careers, educate the public. I mean, we've heard that sort of theme a little bit in some of the stuff we've already been talking about. Break stereotypes, raise awareness, enhance profile of engineering professions. Again, these are themes. I'm just sort of introducing them to you, but we're going to talk a lot more about this stuff. Get rid of the mystery around engineering and technology, create more productive partnerships as well. Oh, okay. Erica's taking notes on the board. Key to success in EIR. So remember, within the classroom, your teacher is the expert, right? So your teacher's with this class 5 days a week probably. You know, they know the kids. They know how the kids learn. So your teacher is the expert there. Make your lessons age appropriate. If you're not sure if the material is age appropriate, again, defer back to your teacher or defer back to your experts. Incorporate active learning, especially for younger students. This is one thing that kind of came up a little bit. I think it was this group over here doing the bridge building. They were talking about how in some cases you might disengage some students if you start with the planning phase, instead of getting them right into the activity and seeing where they fail, and then maybe talking about, you know, getting that hands-on piece going, and then maybe doing some planning afterwards. Keep an open mind and work collaboratively with your teacher and EIR. So just fostering a great partnership here.
What do you mean by younger students? When you say especially for younger students?
Hold on.
From K to 8, active learning would be great for all these.
Yeah.
I don't know, somehow I think you say especially for younger students, I have a feeling they might get in their head, okay, I'm teaching grade 8. They're not younger, therefore I don't have to do it.
Yeah, true. I mean, we don't want to discourage you from doing active learning with the grade 8s as well. Definitely, yeah. Yeah, good point. Thanks. What is Engineers of Tomorrow? So I think, did you introduce us as Engineers of Tomorrow yet?
No,
okay. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah. So Erica briefly mentioned when we were talking about the numbers, and we went from, in 2014, the numbers kind of jumped up a little bit. that we as a team, and what she was referring to really was engineers of tomorrow. So we are engineers of tomorrow, and this font is really tiny here, sorry. So Engineers of Tomorrow is a venture of Engineers Without Borders, and it was started, Engineers Without Borders started in 2007 as a global engineering outreach, right?
Engineers Without Borders Canada actually started in 2000, but we started talking to kids about engineering in 2007.
Okay, sorry.
And we've been rebranded as Engineers of Tomorrow. If you want one of my cards, they're right here. We don't want to talk too much about ourselves because we are here running a program for the PEO. That's really the focus here. But if you're interested in some of our background and some of our reasons for doing what we do, there's lots more information on our website.
Yes, so the link is up here, and again, I'll mention this presentation will be available online afterwards, so you can click through those links at your will. So the EIR team, you can see us here, but there's pictures of us up there. So Erica, she mentioned she was a manufacturing engineer, Queen's University. She's based in Waterloo. Myself, also, we actually met at Queen's when we were there together. I went through for chemical engineering, and I'm based in Orangeville. So when you're sending us emails and notes, I recognize a lot of your names, and I know I've sent some of your emails. Now you've got some faces to put, and we have faces to put to you, which is always nice. Is this getting into the messaging now, or if you'd like to? I think we're starting to. I think this is where we're starting to get into messaging. I don't have my slide numbers to match up.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So thanks, Becky. I'm going to take us into a little bit of theoretical territory, but don't worry, we won't go too deep. We just want to give you a little bit of a taste of why we're giving you these cues to do the messaging in a certain way. Like, why don't we just do the same old thing we've always done? There's a reason that we're starting to put these strategies in place, giving them to the EIR, giving them to the teachers to see what kind of change and impact we can create with our students. So first of all, as most every engineer will understand, at the beginning of our profession, it really just was about technology. How can we make stuff work? How can we take these scientific concepts and make them work into tangible things that are out there in the world, making life happen for people? And then over time, maybe around the first industrial revolution, it became socially unacceptable for those technologies to be hurting people. You know, we had those early, attempts at flight, ended up killing people. That wasn't so good. We figured out how to solve that. We got, Henry Ford and the Industrial Revolution kind of brought everything happening more and more quickly. Quickly, a field called ergonomics developed that said you not only have to make it quickly and technically sound, but you can't hurt people while doing it. So we started to sort of expand our circle of concern from just being about new technology to also being about human safety. And after we sort of mastered that, mostly mastered that, at least in the developed world, we realized that we want to use our resources in a way that we can continue to do this for another, hopefully, 100 or 200 years. And in some cases, we're not doing so well on that. We're using up resources at a faster rate than we really sustainably can. So this is a new buzzword not only in the business world, but also in the technical world of having sustainable design. We've got that big ocean of plastic in the middle of the, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, big hunks of garbage. It's an example of things not being sustainable. And so the engineering profession is now coming up with a whole series of other solutions, working together with biologists and scientists to come up with better ways of making packaging happen, for example. There's actually a really great young person who dropped out of an engineering program to create a garbage island cleanup system. Basically gigantic nets that move at a very slow rate to pull that garbage out of the water. So every time we start to figure something out in the world, something we as engineers, we as, in general, people who are doing a lot of that designing and building, every time we create something, we see some after effects, now we have a new problem to deal with. There's always a new solution and a new problem. Sometimes our solutions create more problems, and we have to keep going. That's an example here. Once we've gotten to the sustainability, I don't know that we're there yet, But the next frontier that we see, and this is speaking on behalf of our venture as Engineers of Tomorrow, you know what we really want to start to look at is this something that works for people in the world? Are we contributing to equity and equality? Are we contributing to global more concentration of wealth and other countries having to go by with nothing? Myself, for example, I'll share that I was working in the mining industry for a short time, and that did not fit with my vision of helping make the world that I wanted to be in. I was contributing to wealth concentration as opposed to helping solve it. So, not that there's anything wrong with being a mining engineer. I don't disagree with anyone's choice on that. But this is the type of thinking that we sort of want to lead to. It's not just does it work? Does it work? Is it safe? Can we keep doing it? And does it work for everyone in the world? Not only could we do it, but should we do it? So we know that engineering, at the base of what we do, is about serving our world. And our technology, our technical knowledge, is being ripped out of the classroom, ripped off the page of the textbook, and brought out into the real world. And it's complicated out there. Not always easy to see whether this is a good idea or not. So there are many shades of gray. So as the world becomes more interconnected and complex, so do the challenges we tackle. So this is a huge idea, but we just wanted to put it out there to see what everybody's thinking about this and how you feel. Maybe just get a couple comments about this idea of engineering gradually upping the game over time. From the earliest, first industrial revolution and now into more of this global interconnected world that we live in today. Any thoughts? Joe.
That's awesome. Do you interact at all with EcoSchools organizations at all?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, you're going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Matt. We'll follow up on that after. Did I see a hand in the back? No?
I was just going to say the same type of thing
Sure.
for the whole EcoSchools and the whole, the global citizen kind of impact. And those are the types of things I teach curriculum, and those are the types of things we think about as end-all projects, like packaging or the plastic in our energy department. So that was just thinking how that comes back to that as well.
Totally. No, that's great. And I think that, again, I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I think when you get to grade 12 and you're told, who are you, what are you good at, what do you think, you sort of get told, well, you're good at math and science, so maybe you should be an engineer. And we really want to say, yes, it is about math and science, but it's also about changing the world. It's also about innovating and making new things happen that have never existed before. How cool is that, right? It's not just about math and science as we've seen it in the education system.
So I've kind of seen those firsthand. Luckily, I was really lucky up in school. Currently, I work for a company called Green Mantra. What we do is take recycled plastic and change it into wax. And that wax goes into many different aspects around the world. So asphalt, shingles, all these different things. And instead of making it from natural gas or coal or anything like that. But it's also very challenging, right? Because you have to pay more for the wax because it takes more money to make it. People don't want to do that, and you also create an idea, but you also have to make it sustainable in terms of money. The company has to make money to be able to keep doing this, so it's a very challenging project, but it's nice to see that there's a lot of companies trying to put more money and more investment into that.
That's terrific. Well, I salute you. Innovation is never easy, so that's very fantastic. One more comment, and then we'll move on. Yeah.
There's a grade 8 project called Waterlock, and where the kids have to identify a issue in their local watershed and then do an action project. So we'll engineer and action engineering.
That's great. Are you looking for a volunteer?
Well, I have a volunteer. I am involved. I haven't updated this year. I'm doing it to keep my definitely looking up to
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, I appreciate you sending us a note. We can follow up on that. Sure, we can help for you with that. Great. So I got ahead of myself a little bit here, but you're good at math and science, therefore you should study engineering. I know because I heard it. How many engineers in the room also heard this? You're good at math and science, you should study engineering. Putting an equal sign between math and between engineering and scientific aptitude is only part of the story. There's a whole other skill set, as we know once we get into industry, that's not just about mastering a scientific concept. It's not just about building stuff. This is my little joke. It's not just about driving trains. I get that all the time when I have to. We want to think about how we can tell a broader story that isn't just the default. And I don't want to be too critical of guidance counselors or other people that are making that equivalency between engineering and math and science, because they're not wrong. Especially, you need those prerequisites to get into a university program. So it's not wrong to say that. It's just not necessarily the whole story. And we feel that we're missing a lot of great would-be engineers by not talking about those other aspects as well. Yeah?
Another stereotype I've heard, probably most of you heard, off and on, I heard about time in my life. Engineers are not creative. Everything kind of person who is gnarly, who was telling me about their creativity and blah, 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 blah. And they're not creative. And I thought, so I don't know if the other people all laugh. That's a big stereotype.
Yeah. Are you doing your part to combat that stereotype?
I most definitely am.
Way to go. That's awesome.
And I'm climbing on bike.
Anymore. I used to go down and invent something, and there's quite a few engineers that invent something, but we're also referred to as robots.
I'm going to write that down too. That's interesting. Tell me a little more about that. What does that mean?
Yeah, so the same thing, a bit lack of creativity. Because usually we're in teams with people that are got lots of majors, or there's a lot of captains as well, but they usually label us as people that probably are not so good at reading the clients, or at great change management, or like we're good at the technical aspect, the numbers, the slides, but it's often I found
we're introverted and we don't like people, right? That's pretty much it. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I feel about it, right? I just really know how to build stuff, I know the science. I manage mostly, so I don't I like to solve problems. So when I start talking to people that I do, most of what I do is solving problems every day. That's it. Like, most of my problems are technology. Communication issues. So I kind of define it here. I get the ability to solve problems. Making science or engineering or math.
Cool. Well, when we think about the difference between, say, science and engineering, science operating in the real world sort of thing, aren't all problems human problems that we use technology to solve? And at the end of the day, you need to tie back to that problem, make sure the technology is solving the problem and not creating anything. I think that's a really neat observation.
It appears to me that human problems and engineering problems are not really the same.
They're not the same thing.
No.
Okay, we've got some debate going here. We don't have time to get into it, but I appreciate your perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say that every stereotype that someone did. Engineers are robots. Well, I think that maybe because of the nature of the industry or whatever, a lot of the engineers maybe have my experience, less communication skills, but more technological.
Yeah.
It's just part of the challenge of that.
Sure. And I don't think there's anything wrong with, some engineers are not communicators. They're not comfortable there. That's maybe not a strength of theirs. That's totally okay. I think what ends up being dangerous is when we say, if you are a good communicator, you shouldn't be an engineer. I think that's sort of where we want to avoid. So we can embrace sometimes that we all feel a little awkward inside. I know I do too, even though I'm an extrovert and an engineer. It's good to acknowledge that there may be a degree of truth there. We can laugh at ourselves and not take it so seriously.
People who feel more connected to numbers or
Okay, yes, one more comment, then we're going to move forward.
I'm actually a teacher, but
I was just thinking that actually I think some of this responsibility is how we're teaching clients where we're doing the curriculum with a lot of vocabulary. I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, so we can see that it's applicable and that even the components, you have this responsibility. And you put a magnifying glass and how that's part of what I'm hoping.
Great. So there's really an opportunity in the broader science education space, is what you're saying. That's great. Okay, so Becky's gone to get the lunch, but when she gets back, I'm gonna ask her about this. Let's keep this conversation going. If people are on social media, that's a great way to do it. You can email us, text us, whatever you want. We do want to keep this conversation going, but we also want to get you out of here on time. So I'm going to move to the next slide here. So we have some ideas about how to message engineering. There's some, probably everyone's reading here, so I'll let you do that for a second, and then I'll say a little more about messaging. So, sorry, let me just go to the next slide to see if this is what I think it is here. So I'll just go into this for a minute here. We feel as though engineering professions are not really well understood by the public. We don't think kids really know what engineering is. That's fair to say. Kids in general don't really know what engineering is. Probably there's a number one reason that kids do know what engineering is. Does anyone want to hazard a guess to what that might be? Kids that know, because their parents are engineers, right? So they're already quite predisposed. They have lots of information about engineering. They have access to role models right there at home. They're maybe going to be engineers no matter what, right? We really don't have to do anything. As EIRs, as educators, they're kind of, right, they're pretty much set if they have parents that are engineers. We're interested in thinking about the ones that do not have access to engineering. Becky's parents are teachers, yet she became an engineer. My parents are a psychologist and a carpenter, respectively, yet I became an engineer. Let's think about how we can look at the kids who don't have access, who aren't going to become engineers anyway. How can we create a picture for them of what they could be like, how they can be welcomed into the engineering profession, despite the fact they don't have a family member already in. I think, I'm sorry, what was your name? Dee was making a point about how engineering is a good place for people who are more connected to numbers than they are to people. And I would agree with you partially, but I think that there are also so many different disciplines, industries, and roles that engineers play. Maybe some engineering is really all about people. I mentioned the engineering management, right? You're dealing with people all the time. So it's really hard to describe it accurately and completely. This is the challenge that we face because as engineers, we want to be accurate. We want to tell the truth, right? We want to describe things accurately. And what I'm here to say to you today, especially those engineers there, is that you don't have to describe engineering completely in order to be an effective ambassador for it. In fact, trying to describe it completely and saying something like it's math and science in the real world is likely very dry and not that inspiring. What you want to do is make a personal connection with the student. You want to give them a sense of who you are as a person. What do you value? Why did you want to become an engineer? And how can we help them see that same sort of thing that makes you excited about what you're doing as an engineer? I have a couple stories that I tell about when I was a kid. I didn't want to put away the dishes into the dishwasher, so I designed a contraption. I just put it on paper. I wasn't the building. I wasn't hands-on at that point. But I had the contraption contraption that would take the dishes over to the hutch for me, and then I had a little mechanism in mind that would take them off so they wouldn't break. I thought about it, right? And I think my mom at that point looked at me and she was like, "Why are you being so lazy? Just put the dishes away," right? But I prefer to think of it as innovative and looking for ways to be efficient. And so I look back on that now, and I say, even though I didn't look like a typical engineer, I'm not even sure I would have wanted to build a popsicle stick bridge if an engineer had come into my class. I might not have been into it at all, yet I really think that engineering has been an excellent fit for me. And so it's okay to not have a total answer about what engineering is, not describe it as you would a problem when you've got your engineering hat on. It's okay to tell personal stories instead, talk about your emotions and give examples from a point of view of looking to make a personal connection and not a sort of mental. Yes, you have a question or comment here in the middle?
No, I'm probably the most senior one here. I've been grappling with this question for quite a while. The kids know what teachers do, they know what doctors do, they know what dentists do. And I was thinking, my first meeting with this class, this is my first year, I would ask the question, tell me everything you did since you got up this morning. Mm-hmm. All those steps would involve at some point an engineer's input. Apart from checking their Facebook on their smartphone, very closely. And what do they have to eat? Where did that come from?
There's tons of engineering here. Are you kidding? Absolutely.
I mean, every single step of their process. How did you get to school? You go to school. You go to a toilet this morning, and it goes on like that, just engaging. I think you could probably let them see what they do about the students. That was their morning.
Cool. So I think that's a nice lead in. I think one of our messages here, these are sort of, we've been thinking about this for quite a while as well. And so these are some ideas that we have. We have engineering is all around you. I think that's an awesome way to give an introduction to engineering. We could probably have a long discussion about each one of those, but these are some of our ideas. And again, this presentation is going to be available after. You're welcome to use them. We encourage you not to read this like a script, but to think about these ideas, interact with them, grapple with them, figure out what personal examples you have that could maybe support and illustrate some of these concepts, and use those as a jumping off point. Not a technical explanation of what you do in your job. That is maybe going to be intimidating to your students, but it's going to lead them to think that they can't do engineering because they don't understand what's said about their job. Yes?
I've been actually involved in this for the last 3 years. So I did grade 6.
Can you speak up just a little? There's like a lot of
grade 6 students.
Grade 6 students, great.
The last 2 years. And on my first meeting with the students, what I explained and bring them into discussion is that where we see an engineers working it out. And some of the students who are like actively thinking, they would say, oh, we are smooth and all that. But then I would guide them into saying, how about your microwave oven? How about fridge? How about your car in the house? So even the pen, right? Yeah. So all these things have an engineering impact. I also give them this example. I said thousands of engineers are behind this. And I mean, we cannot conceive a world at this stage without this.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think something you're pointing to that's really interesting is that a lot of kids, they've kind of gotten the message, or when they think about it, they know about buildings. They probably know about bridges. They sort of get that we make these structures in the world. And that's great. That's true. But there's so much more. So I love that you're using that as a way to kind of pull them into that. I will say, just since we're on the topic of different types of engineering, I personally, and you're very welcome to disagree with me, but I personally am not sure how useful it is to describe to a grade 4 or grade 6 student the difference between electrical and mechanical and civil, and giving them the vocabulary that we use as professionals to divide up ourselves. I don't think that's important for them at that stage. I think what you really want to do is talk about this kind of stuff and the way that it's about working together, it's about helping people, it's about changing the world. Just think, there is somebody who labored long and hard to figure out what type of material this should be made out of. I'm a materials metallurgical engineer, so I love materials so much, and I think that's a great conversation. Somebody thought about that. There are human beings behind the stuff that's in the world. Yeah.
Seems to me it's important also to look at the different engineer traditions. We live in a written society, but there are also the oral tradition which have completely reduced our technology. And that is something which is interesting to consider. Because when our the technology we have, there are issues, production issues. And it's good when we can describe engineering that did not exclude all these franchise associations, but develop our systems. And we have to talk about the scientific level.
Sure. So you're saying that there's a conversation to be had as well about the First Nations people and how their contribution is not that recognized. Cool. Someone was running a program last National Engineering Month called Aboriginal Engineering. And I admit I don't know all of the material, but it was very well done. Yeah. Do you want to follow up with me and I can send you the link? I can send you some more information. For sure. Okay. I keep saying this. One more point. Yeah. Your husband's an engineer. I'm just repeating so everyone can hear you. That's great. She's a teacher librarian. This is a list we're going to make together. I love this. Engineering books is what she's talking about. That's great. Would you be willing to write those down on a Post-it note and give them to me or Becky? Make sure we get them. That's fantastic. I recently sat in on a workshop that was facilitated by the Society of Automotive Engineers. If anyone's familiar with their kits, they have A World in Motion. So they're automotive engineers, so clearly their workshops are all about building cars and boats and different types of vehicles. So it's not a complete picture of engineering. But they also had some very well done modules for the younger grades, K to 3, that's the one that I sat in on. And they have these fantastic books. There was a list of maybe 12 books that I would love to put with the books that you suggested, maybe some of them are the same, and really see what some of those pre-engineering ideas are. I love this idea of giving kids a pre-engineering foundation. You're not maybe going to talk to them about actual engineering, but what are the things, what are the skills, what are the ideas they would, the seeds you need to plant when they're at that young age in order to make them receptive when they get a little bit older. Okay, this is a great conversation, but we do need to get moving. So we talked a little bit about how that's the stealth profession. And I would like to just have you chat a little bit because I spoke earlier about how you have kids that are going to feel included and they're going to feel like, hey, I can be an engineer because their parent is an engineer. There may be other people who feel excluded, who feel like they can't really participate. Oh, engineering, that's hard. Or, oh, engineering, that's just for boys. Or, oh, engineering, that's for people who don't look like me or have, they might have some ideas about how they're on the outside. We want to think about how we can make it an inclusive environment for everyone. So this is just a very quick activity, and we are running close to lunchtime. But I encourage you just to chat with the person beside you about a time when you felt included. This could be in a classroom or educational setting, or it could be elsewhere. And a time when you felt excluded. And what was the difference? And maybe think a little bit about how we can create an inclusive and inviting environment for every single one of our students, not just the ones who already have a parent who's an engineer. I'll give you just a couple minutes to chat amongst yourselves about that inclusive versus exclusive feeling. If anyone on the chat would like to share, please do. Yeah, great. Yeah, cool. I'm good till 20 after 12. Everyone's doing really well. We just had a really good conversation about the messaging and excluding people. Got some. How many slides? 17 to 32. Yeah.
Dave Swart here. I'm just wondering if any of the online folks can hear me. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, Dave.
Yeah, you're very clear, Dave.
But I was just lost.
I've lost the sound of the meeting. Can anybody else hear the meeting? Can't hear it. I assume they had gone for lunch.
So there is this gender.
Are they still there?
Boy versus girl component here around being willing
Can you
to
guys
try
hear
and
me now?
fail and get dirty and mess it up versus not at all?
I can hear you clearly.
Great.
Okay.
I think somehow it just, our end got muted for a period of time there.
Different learning styles in boys versus girls, and so a lot of that kind of happens daily. Girls and boys fail early, or you are how continue on in file of that experience, or together, or work together versus guide love competition, which is yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up. I personally think competitions are fun, but maybe I'm the exception, or maybe we as female engineers, we kind of learn how to deal with it. That's a really great point. Maybe not making every activity a competition. Nothing wrong with doing some competition, but maybe making some of it a little more flexible so to incorporate some different learning styles. Thank you for that. Over here. Yes.
I think oftentimes when you're doing group work in a classroom, and an activity like we did hours ago, the child that is disengaged is often because they don't have a job. And if you don't have a real natural leader in that group, nobody's given them a job to do. So when, as a teacher, when I circulate, I'm always looking for ways to get kids involved by giving them jobs. And you have to value all jobs equally. So in our little group, we ended up breaking into different jobs. But I would say to the kids, well, the tape guy is just as important as the person who's building the tower. So you can be tearing up the pieces of tape. You think that would help your group? Oh, yeah. So it's just about they're not able to see themselves in the activity. They need a job. Once they got a job, then they need to take.
That's brilliant, and I think you're speaking to something a little bigger in society. Like, we need to value all jobs. We need to value trades, and we need to value technology, and we need to value design, and we need to value academics. They're all just different, right? No one job is better than any other. I mean, that's a great point.
Actually assign value to different jobs based on their own experiences, based on how you introduce the activity. And you may not even notice that when you introduce it, that you value one component more than the other. And so by saying that all jobs are equally important,
Sure. Saying it is the starting point, right? And then helping them live it might be a little more of a challenge. Yeah.
Good day, and a community where everybody is beginning to do a job. So everyone gets the part. Well, somebody would say, yeah, I could try to say, but what I really want to do is hold the next day and think of the job. If I don't get to do it, I don't want to do it.
That's cool. cool idea. Yeah. And I'm thinking about my manufacturing engineering experience where they do actually rotate on the line to make sure that, different jobs, the different muscle groups get equally work, right? No one competes. The need high in there.
I would direct this primarily to the teachers, whether this is now, one thing I found in work, not necessarily anybody. I found in a group situation it's really important to know contribution of each individual by example. Let's say you're a big group and you try to break it our way and why don't we show it your way? And I would make a point, let us know that Farah has much of this contribution to this will go in terms and that way I found everybody would be engaged in locally where encouragement doesn't say want to do more. Now with that, we valid in a teaching context.
That's more than valid. We're expected to do it, and we're expected to assess those abilities.
It's what you're supposed to do in teaching it. For example, there's tons of different ways of doing addition to go live, find out answer. Our job as a teacher is to help them find different strategies and answer the one that they like. Are some way more efficient than others? Absolutely. Maybe eventually they'll work their way that way. But as long as they arrive at the final answer, it's not on the strategy there, right? So yes, that's why you see each other's strategy solutions, and you kind of try to let them problem solve and figure out which is the one that they want to go with, what strategy or solution. Cool.
Yeah,
so when you see that,
so just really quickly, when we report on a student, there's the marks, which some people feel are important. They are. But then there's 6 learning skills, and one of the learning skills is collaboration. So in every subject, there's expectations that we teach collaborative skills and also assess them.
That's great. But did you get 16, 14?
6 strands.
Six. Wait. 6. 6 criteria.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them is collaboration.
Independent work, collaboration, initiative, self-regulation, responsibility, organization. And that's actually the hardest part to write on the report card. Personalize what type of student did. And then on the back is actually the marks.
Okay. So can someone write those down somewhere? I'd love to circulate that back into the EIR. EIR, is that something the kind of thing we can help with? It's about much more than half the time.
Going back to that, because there's a gender audit. For example, you said I like competition, maybe a bit odd that way, but I think that's a bad message to the group because I like competition, but I don't think that's weird for a girl. So I think that's the message we need to stop sending out like, oh, boys like this, boys like this. I think we all have those traits, and I think we need to stop pigeonholing males.
Right on. We got a bit of a concept. Thanks for giving me on it. Okay, one more comment. I was just going back to the inclusion thing, and I don't know if it's the same in schools because I'm sure there's a more balanced gender ratio in schools, but going through university and even in my career, I'm still pretty outnumbered in terms of usually I'm the only female in the room for the most part. So one of the things that I've tried to do when there's other females in the room, or just to make them feel included, is that when they speak out or speak an opinion on something, just echo their opinion and make sure that it's heard. And a lot of the time, Obama staffers do that. I just read something about the females on Obama's team do that to each other. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Very cool strategy. Yeah, that's good. She was just talking about how she's often the only female in the room as a female engineer. That's what I'm paraphrasing you accurately here. And when there are other women in the room, they found that they can sort of make an effort to help their voices be heard. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same thing in classrooms. Like
the opposite. It's the opposite. I'm a male elementary teacher. That means I work with 89% women. That's a fact. 9% are male.
We need to add, when you have like a male kindergarten teacher, we're like that in the meeting. No, we want that to be we want that to be a role model. And of course, tons of female teachers.
Yeah.
And we want them to have that male role model. And we want them to be, all different colors and sexual orientation. That way, they will find themselves at least someone that they look up to. Yeah. When you can find a male teacher, you're like, and the flip side, or the sad part about that is, because there's so many female teachers, sometimes students won't listen to a female teacher very well. And for those particular students, we try to find a male teacher for them to have, so they behave better. And then there are the occasional times, then there's additional students that will actually behave better with a female teacher who try to make personality, but plus credit.
Okay, cool. All right, so thanks for that. Thank you all for your comments. It sounds like some really great conversations, and I'm going to capture all of this stuff that's ending up on the board here. It's messy, but it's good. What's that? I think we could do a little bit more. Yeah. So I think this is maybe just to sum up where we're at right now. We feel we really do have a lack of understanding about the role of engineering, and that increases the potential for a disconnect when we have society knowing a whole bunch of things and technology kind of doing a whole bunch of other things. But when we talk about engineering and define it sort of in those more emotional terms, in terms of purpose and importance, we don't just talk about the technical details, but we talk about the why. And we allow ourselves to tell just our own story. We don't necessarily need to describe everything, but talk about for example, it meant a lot to me when I was working in manufacturing engineering that I was able to work on the employee suggestion program. And I spoke to the people that worked on the line that had these really tough jobs, on the line, working hard day after day. I was able to speak to them about their ideas to make their work area better. I was engaging them. I was helping them see that their voice mattered and that their ideas were valuable. They are valuable. They save money. They save time. They save injuries. It's a no-brainer for the company to listen to their employees. Toyota is very good at this. But then it's also got that feel-good factor, and I really like that as an extroverted engineer compared to other people. This is a great way for me to say, like, hey, I'm being an engineer. I'm problem-solving. I'm going and ordering things, and I'm selling the idea to the maintenance manager, and I'm organizing work orders and talking to tradespeople to get those ideas implemented. This is what it means to people, and that's why it's important. So it is about technology. It is about solving problems. It is about sometimes building and ordering and designing things, but it's also about people. And showing how it impacted human training makes it more accessible. People can understand that really easily. Okay. So here are a couple, we were talking a little bit about engineering myths. Maybe we will do this as our last slide before lunch, because it looks like lunch is here. Is that yeah, awesome. I'm going to set it up in the front. I just want to be too distracting. Oh, no, that's fine. So math and science, I spoke about this a little earlier, that math and science equals engineering, putting that equal sign in the middle rather than saying that math and science are tools used by an engineer, but engineering is actually something bigger. How about you have to be super smart to be an engineer? Is that true? You have to get 99% in everything? Disagree. Right. We want to squelch that, right? I mean, there are universities, I think the University of Waterloo has a ridiculously high entrance average. But there are different types of intelligence required, and we really want to turn our back on this idea that engineering is some elite thing that only a select few are allowed into. I think it definitely has been that way in the past, but it's not, and I believe it shouldn't be. I think we can all understand that having more diverse voices and more diverse participants in engineering is going to be better. How about this one? Engineers sit by themselves calculating things all day and don't talk to anyone. Maybe some of them do, maybe a couple of them do. Anybody here sit all day and do calculations and not talk to anyone? Right? So engineers need to communicate, right? And that is definitely important. You either have it or you don't. I'm sure teachers will have something to say about this. It's the new lot of new science around neuroplasticity, around growth mindset, and realizing that just because you can't do something or you don't know something right now doesn't mean you never will. And you can see how saying this myth here contributes directly to, well, I can't be an engineer, to people feeling excluded. Oh, I don't get this activity, therefore I don't have what it takes, therefore I can't be an engineer. I want to break that down. I want to say, you know what? No one gets the first time. Intelligence is not static. We can learn over time. We can grow. There's some great, has anyone heard of growth mindset? Carol Dweck's work. Teachers probably all know about that. But good for engineers to be over as well. And there's only one type of person that can be an engineer. No, that's not true either. Okay, we're basically just setting up all of these myths so we can blow them up, right? That's what we want to do. That's your alternate job title as EIR, blowing up stereotypes. And I can say to the folks that are, you know, very well represented in engineering, some of our men, right? You, even though you might look like what they expect in terms of a stereotypical engineer, you can still participate in blowing up these myths. In fact, we need you to, because I think when I walk into a classroom and I say, hey, I'm an engineer, can you tell just by looking at me? That's great. That starts off one conversation. But there aren't enough of us yet, so we need everyone to be on board with this strategy. And by the way, what I usually am trying to get them to do is notice my brain. So that's where I like to start often when I see a group of kids, to get them to see if they notice my brain. And then say, oh, well, do all engineers wear them? No, just Canadian engineers. You got your degree in Canada, you're probably going to wear what here's like sort of thing. So general comments on engineering myths. I think this is a great place to break for lunch. I'd love to have just maybe 3 comments before we go. Everyone's hungry. Okay, so we've got some other stuff to dive into after lunch. Thank you all for your participation and your engagement in this large room with these loud fans. I think we're doing really, really well, and I appreciate it. So Becky is following around the bracket here. And there are salads as well. Please come up and serve yourself, and grab somebody to talk to over lunch. We're going to take half an hour. If you need to leave the room, please be back in half an hour. So that is, oh, it's noon exactly. Perfect. 12:30, we're going to get started again. Hey, just give me one quick second. I need to tell these folks online. So everyone, we're going to be back at 12:30. Please take half an hour and do what you need to do to get yourselves fed and ready to be back online paying attention again at 12:30. Thank you. Overall, this rings true. With hearing, it's about 50% absorption. Sight is 50% absorption. Reading, only 10% absorption. So really what we kind of want to drive home with the point of this slide is if, you know, as an EIR, you decide that you want to go in and do a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that probably the CEOs of your company would think were great, and it's just a bunch of bullet points with numbers and words and stuff. You know, kids, if they're having to read that up there, it's probably not going to be super effective. So think about how you can make it tailored to your audience. Okay? Keep that in mind. I could do that. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Oh, maybe I can. Oh, it's because, yeah, you have to, like, just click it. Yeah. So, again, I think I heard this come up earlier as well, talking about multiple intelligences. So, linguistic, visual, spatial, musical, logical, mathematical, kinesthetic, thank you. Interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic, existential. So different ways, again, we're just trying to get you to think about different ways that your audience, the people that we're trying to get these messages across to, might intercept them. How they're going to engage and interact. A little visual here, a little cartoon. So for a fair selection, everybody has to please take the same exam, climb that tree. So obviously, you know, the fish isn't going to be able to climb the tree, but that doesn't mean that the fish doesn't have valuable
things to contribute to society, and there's other ways that we can include the fish in that, and the penguin, and the elephant, right? Directed versus facilitated learning. So again, similar to what I was talking about with, just putting a PowerPoint presentation up and delivering the message, we want to try and encourage more interaction. So when we say facilitation, I think interaction. We want to be drawing our audience, our kids, into the whole process, the learning process. So there's some suggestions here about, directed versus facilitated. So it's a good thing. I mean, I'm not going to read through it, but have a look at it and go, oh yeah, I do that thing that's under the directed, and here's an idea of how I could adjust my approach to engage the kids a little bit more. So if I'm telling you now that we want you to facilitate your lessons, not direct them, how do I facilitate those lessons? So, ask the kids questions. Like, don't just tell them the answers, ask them. They've got all kinds of great opinions and ideas. Incorporate learning that engages the senses, different types of intelligences, music, idea. Try new material, something your students can understand using patterns and associations. So just, again, I don't need to read through everything here, but keep that in mind when you're developing these lessons. Anything you wanted to add before we go into experience from?
I'm sure you said this before I came into the room, but a lot of that is stuff that teachers understand. We're not trying to tell you how to teach here. We're not experts in that. As we said right off the top, we know the teachers are the experts in those sorts of things. This was meant to be just a sort of couple of thoughts for the EIRs to integrate, and you can, we'll get into how we see you working together. Did you say that already? Okay, good. Just iterating.
I told them these were kind of the slides while they were digesting their lunch. So, are we okay with our online participants? We're good there? Okay. So, wisdom from experienced EIR. So this is kind of I kind of think this is sort of the meat of the day for you guys. This is where we've taken some tidbits, and I guess even more than tidbits, and we've compiled them together for you based on experience from previous years on sort of what to expect out of the program, a little bit more into the details. So what do EIRs do in the classroom? How do you design the EIR involvement? What are keys to successful collaborations with the EIRs and teachers? And then we can talk about any more questions, but please, questions at any time. So let me get into the first one. So what do EIRs do in the classroom? Well, it's up to you and the EIR and the teacher to decide what you're going to do. Okay? We don't really want to tell you, other than coaching you on the messaging and kind of what we are standing for, but we don't want to tell you what to do. Your teacher's going to know. The EIR is going to have great ideas. So we really are here to match you guys up and then just try and set you up for success to have you guys come up with what's going to work best for your classes, okay? Lessons could be things that support the curriculum. They might be related to the interests or backgrounds of the EIR. Maybe they've got some really amazing project that can be incorporated into the classroom in some way. There is, as I mentioned, there is lesson plans online for sample activities if you're looking for ideas there. This one, I don't know too much, Erica, if you know more about this. EIRs have also run after-school programs.
Yeah, I think what we wanted to say here is just that you don't need to feel limited by what lesson plans we've uploaded. Again, back to that point earlier about designing the school playground. You can run after-school programs. First Lego League and First Robotics are often looking for coaches. There's Destination Imagination, if people know what that is. That often has a nice intersection with STEM and with future engineering classes. This really, when it comes to something like this, it's a different commitment than coming in for like one period per month. It really depends on the EIR's availability and schedule. We find, just as from our experience, that tends to be the bottleneck. Is does the EIR have time to come to school once per week or on that increased frequency and take on a bigger role. But we would 100% love to see you doing that. And back to the first bullet point, it's really up to you what you want to do. Some examples of stuff they've done design competitions. Sometimes they judge at science fairs or other sorts of competitions that they're having, even organizing field trips. We'd love to see that. But again, we can't tell you that you can make that work. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's really up to you.
Did you talk about them at all?
We haven't done that, but I think it's coming in the other resources.
Okay, I was just going to mention, I mean, thinking of other things to do, National Engineering Month is a logical place to put a bit of focus, and we've got some slides on that coming up. help for designing EIR involvement. So here's where kind of the recommended or historical experience comes in. So we recommend 1 visit per month per EIR, estimating 2 to 4 hours per visit with prep time. So just like Erica again, and we were saying, what are the schools, the teachers' needs and goals? You got to plan when you're going to meet next. It gets challenging to match everybody's schedules up, so if you can do that in advance, it's great. Communicate by email or phone or whatever works best for that team. You guys figure that out, and where we can help, we will help, but it's the two of you connecting that really is going to set you up for success. Think about where an engineering perspective might enhance your curriculum. What is your EIR interested in doing? I mean, the engineers, we have training in specific disciplines. Like I said, I'm a chemical engineer. My work experience was primarily in pharmaceuticals, so maybe I have some ideas in pharma stuff that might be able to tie in. So there's gonna be sort of a comfort zone for your EIRs and what they're interested in. Or some of the EIRs might say, whatever. I'm open to everything, and if I don't know it, I'll figure it out. So, work it out between the two of you. How could your EIR inspire the students? So, we're not just talking about someone coming in and talking to them and they have to sit there and listen. We're talking about trying to inspire them, right? But what can they do to really elevate that experience? Again, back to messaging, the important messages for that particular age group. What existing activities is your school already doing or your class already doing? Or again, back to National Engineering then. There's existing things going on. Think about how those could be pulled into the program. And again, just so think about when you're meeting next and plan events. Yes, question? Yes, and I'm going to come to that pretty soon. Maybe even next. So here's just some feedback. I'm not going to read through the slides, but experience or advice from experienced EIR teachers and EIRs themselves. So there was a bunch of advice around be realistic. Okay, I mean, hopefully Eric and I are hoping you're going to come out of today's session all revved up and ready to go and make a big difference this school year. And that's great, and we're so excited, and we hope you're excited about that too. But we also want you to be realistic. So, if you're working and you're not going to be able to get off every other day to go see your class, you'll plan for what makes sense and what you can actually, what you can actually accomplish.
Can I just add a quick thing to that, Becky? Yeah. Something we've seen in previous years is that sometimes either the teacher or the EIR will get overwhelmed and will stop returning the other's phone call. Please don't do that to each other. If circumstances have changed or you're just realizing that you have too much on your plate and you can't continue your involvement, please let each other know. Or if you don't want to have that awkward breakup conversation, talk to us and we'll have it for you. Yeah. Because what ends up happening is one side continues to try and email and call the other side, and they just get very frustrated. Then they disengage from the program. So we end up losing people this way, and we don't want that to happen. It's no problem. We actually Fortunately and unfortunately, we have schools we weren't able to match with an EIR this year, and we have EIRs we were not able to match with a school. So you are great, you are fantastic, but if necessary, we can replace you. It's okay. I mean that in a good way. Okay? So I want to let you know that just communicate with us. Keep it, just keep us in the loop. Let us know if your circumstances change and you're not able to continue to participate in the program, so we can make sure that your match can continue if they want to. Questions, problems? Yes?
Wondering, does that mean that there's extra engineers out there?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
It's regional.
It's location dependent.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, you're not. I just need more of an information.
So be realistic. Plan ahead. I was already talking about this, but everybody's schedules are busy. Teachers are busy with all the stuff going on in the classroom. Erica told you, I think, my parents were teachers. I know. I heard all about it every day at dinner. Teachers are busy. And EIRs are busy, right? You get going on a project, and you've got deadlines for that too, and oh, I've got to do this thing with this class. And so by planning ahead, putting it, let's work together, figure out what communication works best for the two of you, and get into a rhythm, and it'll really set you up for success for the year. Enjoyment. So one of the, I was telling them, I don't think you were in the room, Erica, about our experience with Science Quest. And one of the reasons I love Science Quest, I did it as a camper. I was from Kingston, so I was a camper, and I was a junior counselor, and I was a counselor, and I was a director. I stayed with Science Quest for a long time, and one of the reasons I love working at Science Quest is because it made me remember why I wanted to be an engineer. I got so much out of it, and it made me feel so great that it kept me motivated for that time, the school year, and it continued on, and look, it's come all the way circled back 15 or however many years later. But you've got to get something out of this, right? And the teachers have got to enjoy having you come to the class, and the kids want to we want the kids to say, when's our EIR coming? When's our EIR coming back? So that's key. Creativity. That was one of the other things that I really loved about Science Quest, and you get in your day-to-day routines of the things you've got to get done in the class, the things you've got to get done at work, and having the opportunity to be a little creative and think outside the box and think, how can I deliver this in a way that would attract the kids, or, using different ideas. It kind of, I think it leads into that enjoyment part, but it makes it successful for everybody when you can use that creativity. And then teamwork, of course. Teamwork, and between you, your the EIRs, your teachers, the kids, us where we can help. So we are a team EIR. we want to have a stellar year.
And in case it's not obvious, these are actual quotes from actual EIRs and teachers. So we're sort of paraphrasing and showing the themes that we see, but don't take it from us, take it from them that have been in your shoes and have been there. That's the experience that they report.
So that's kind of it for the meat of what I was going to go through. I'm going to turn it over to Erica to do some of the wrap-up around some of the, this is some reimbursement information and some other closure stuff. One thing that a couple people have mentioned to me, there are some people here that we're hoping to connect with their counterpart, and they just haven't found them yet. They're not sure if they're here yet or not. So maybe after this is done, we'll take a few minutes to raise your hand if you haven't found your match.
That sounds great. Why don't we do that right now?
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't, if you thought your match was supposed to be here today and you haven't found them, do you want to put up your hand? Okay, so let's just go through. If you don't mind stand. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you could stand up, you don't have to put your hand up, and we'll just find out. So, your name, Edie. So, was somebody matched with Edie? Maybe not here. Okay. Who else was?
Can you tell me? Christina. Are you a teacher or an EIR? EIR. Do you know what? Teacher said Nottingham. Is there anyone here from Nottingham?
Oh, you just got matched this week, right? Or last week? Yeah.
Yeah. Friday.
That's awesome. Thank you for being here.
Okay.
I'm not sure they were able to make it.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, sorry. Alba?
I'm a teacher from Birdwood Boulevard.
Oh! Yay! Okay, great. Yeah. Teacher from what school? Rose Avenue. Is there an EIR paired with Rose Avenue?
So I can look it up, actually. Dee, your match is Annette Hewitt from Julie Payette School. I take it she's not here. And what was it, Roseview? Rose Avenue. Technology, huh? I love it. Okay, Anima Doyle? Anima Doyle? No? Sorry, she's not here. You're still loved.
That's okay. I didn't want to miss an opportunity for matches to connect today. Yes.
I'm an engineer.
Kathy from St. Joseph?
Maybe check online.
Oh, do you want to see if anybody's online? Is responding?
Thank you.
I forget it.
I'm an engineer and I was working with the
Chrysler, okay?
Christ the King.
Oh, Christ the King.
and the other teacher was Katie.
Haley?
Katie.
From Christ the King?
Not online. Sorry.
Because last time she told me that she gave me on the principal. And when it was, I don't know what's happening.
Okay, can you talk to me after? Thank you. Anybody here from Kingston? From Kingston? Oh. And you're looking for?
Someone from Durham Region.
Lakewood School in Durham?
I'm also doing I'm an engineer. I'm also.
Oh, you're also in Durham? Durham, we got a lot of interest.
We had 56 schools in Durham District School Board ask for EIR.
So if you know anybody in EIR, let us know in Durham.
We have a partner in crime inside the DDSB. They push the word for us. Yeah, it's great because honestly, what they're doing, I think there's a lot of stuff that they can try out and then potentially share out across the program to other EIRs as well. It's going to be really good.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, we're going to go through this slide. Erica's going to go through it. Yeah. I just wanted to make any matches before we got into this stuff. Anybody else want to see if there are matches here? No? It's like the match game.
Okay, so I think our idea is to get all the information that you need. We've given you tons of food for thought, we hope, and tons of ideas. We'd like to get through this material relatively quickly, then give you a chance to chat amongst yourselves. If your match is here, fantastic. You can jump in with both feet. If they're not, that's okay too. You can still chat amongst the other people to get some ideas rolling. So, here we go. This is the good stuff here. Part of the benefit of being a program of PEO is that they are invested in making this happen through their education committee. If you want to look online on the PEO website, they have the ED Youth Committee. They have some information about some of the bigger picture stuff that they're trying to do. It's very related to what we're talking about as engineers of tomorrow in terms of changing the engineering profession. And so it's neat that we're sort of partnering together. They put resources towards this program. So there's up to $50 available for each one of you that came in person. Props to you for coming here in person. I know it wasn't easy to get here. I think Kingston is probably the record for coming from the furthest. Good work. So unfortunately, the folks online are not eligible for this particular part, but if you claim your mileage, your parking, or your any transit that you took today, you can claim that back to us. We'll send you the form, send it back to us. There will be a deadline, so make sure you're aware of that, and we'll get that all processed for you. Okay. So, police check. I don't know if it's super clear from what's written there, but your police check is also covered. I know a lot of you are either in process or have gotten your police check already. That is an essential part. Not from our perspective. Becky and I don't need a copy of your police check. The school needs it. Okay, that is a sort of a mandated thing. So it's fine for you to meet up. You can meet at a coffee shop or I don't know, meet after school, but you can't be in the classroom with the kids until that police check is in place. And there is money available for that as well. It varies by region. If you're with the TDSB, with the Toronto, like if you live in the Toronto Police Service area, we pay it for you. You don't have to worry. If you live outside of that, in York region, Durham region, Peel region, etc., you have to pay for it yourself, and then you send us the receipt and the claim form, and we pay you back. Okay? So that's how the police check part works. There's also something called the EIR fund. Now, some good news here is this allowance used to be up to $200 per year. We said, set our EIRs free, give them more money, do more good stuff, and PDO agreed, and we're really glad that they did, because what could you do with $300? Hopefully you're not just going to buy popsicle sticks and make them build a ton of bridges, okay? We don't necessarily want more of the same, but this money is meant to set your imaginations free. Maybe, we know some teachers, some school boards are able to access funding as well for materials. That's great. Figure out together how you want to allocate that. Something to note, we're just processing this year's claims, and some of the expenses are just a little bit borderline, like people are buying things that maybe then they go on to own, like a printer, for example. We've had some awkward conversations with people about things that are not necessarily in the classroom for the kids to use. So if you have any questions about what is eligible under this, we've got more details on the website, and you're welcome to ask. If it's out, ask. You might as well ask, and then you can figure out, if you want to go ahead and purchase it on your own dime if we don't cover it, or be assured that we do. And you're going to submit those along with the receipt by June, and that's this coming June. Okay, so that's once you've done the school year, you save your receipt. You can send it to us sooner if you want to, but we usually process everything in one batch to keep it more efficient. James, yes?
I appreciate a question. I've already met with the teacher several times and working with him years and years. And we agreed that part of the going to be project when you get into those concepts. Getting the students to build small, regulated cars. And I've actually designed it. I got it working last night, and I'm now working on something like parts that making $30 to $40. There's 13 fishing classes taking 5 things to do with 1 thing to read. So how depth and stuff we're looking at max $40 plus tax.
Yep.
Let's say I offer to get it for them, knowing that I'll be covered. Let's say that I have my invoice in October or November.
Yeah.
Do I have to wait till next year to get my money back?
You don't have to wait. You can submit it when you're ready. We do usually process all of the checks in one batch just because it's easier from a time perspective. There are 170 EIRs. And if we were cutting a check every single time we got one, you can just appreciate from an efficiency perspective. That's difficult for us to handle. But if you need the money, if it's, if that's something that you're interested in taking care of in a time-sensitive manner, maybe we can make it exception. Fair enough. Okay, are we good with the material allowance? That's pretty clear. And you do not have to use this funding. It's just there because we wanted to make sure you were supported. Some EIRs buy stuff out of their own pocket and don't even bother to expense it. It's really up to you. We just want you to know that that's there. Oh, awesome. Thank you. So what are some of the practical support things that we offer? We've given you a ton of questions and things to do and think about. Here's what we offer. So we matched you. If you're here, you've been matched. This is good. You are all set. Orientation sessions, that's once per year. We're doing that right now. The newsletter, you will automatically receive this if you're matched. And we will give sort of an up-to-date what's going on around the EIR program. Maybe we'll have an article that we think is interesting that you might want to consider. We're going to hopefully be moving more away from newsletters via email, because we all get too many emails, and moving more towards online and engaging through things like the LinkedIn, Twitter, and the Facebook page. That's sort of where we're moving, but as of now, we will still send out the critical stuff. You'll get a mid-year survey with some questions for feedback during the middle of the year, and then at minimum, prompts at the end of the year, So we promise not to spam you, but we will be hearing from us. So be prepared for that. Make sure we don't end up in your junk folder. The messaging guidelines, resources, outreach resources, and projects online. So messaging guidelines refers to a specific set of messages, sort of like what we were talking about this morning, that was a part of a research project done by the National Academy of Engineers of the United States. And they took these messages and put them in front of a whole bunch of regular people and figured out which ones were the most appealing. So this is sort of the best of the best ways to talk about engineering. We utilize this all the time with National Engineering Month. That's another thing that Becky and I do within Ontario. And so we encourage you to make use of those messaging guidelines as well. That is all available up at their website at EIR.ca. How many people have looked at the website? Just even a little bit. Okay, that's awesome. Really good. So keep looking. We're going to keep putting new stuff up there. If you've got stuff you would like to contribute, James actually already promised me that I'm going to get a copy of the presentation that he put together. So we can put that up on the website as well. We don't need everybody reinventing the wheel. We can share, we can support each other, and make sure that we're able to look at what works, look at what doesn't, and support each other.
Can I put a plug in for our social media when you're talking about that? So one of the ways we want to start to really encourage people to share, and we want to build our community. We are pretty active on social media now, so it's a great way for you guys to interact with us, and it's a great way for you to interact with all of each other, not just your match, but like Erica said, James has a great presentation. If somebody wants to connect in some way, it's overrated. So, and we talked about it at the beginning, but I just wanted to take that opportunity to remind you all, if there's something you're looking for, please send out a tweet about it. We're at EIR Program on Twitter. We have a LinkedIn page and a Facebook page as well. Great community resources.
We're guessing even if some of you are not on Twitter, I know not everyone is, not everyone's saying, you're probably on at least one of these other pages. So don't feel you have to engage with us on multiple fronts, but think about connecting with us on at least one. Because we'd like to build a community. We would like to have a virtual water cooler that everyone can gather around and talk about what works, talk about the highs and the lows of being in the EIR program, and really support each other. Again, more stuff online at EIR.ca. There are project presentations. We know you're busy, that you might not have time to start from scratch. If you want to start from scratch and do something really cool and original, that's great. But we also want to give you stuff that you can work from. With your workplace. So some of you may have already gotten these letters. Our summer intern, Vanessa, was very active in putting together letters for people that need some kind of explanation for their employer and how much time you need, what it's doing. If your company has any sense at all, they will say yes to you doing this. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Because when your employees are volunteers, there are tons of other benefits that come back to the company, not just to the individual, but also to their workplace as well. So if your company would like to get involved, and maybe you have coworkers, I'm talking to EIRs, I guess, who have coworkers that you think would make good EIRs, or if your company might like to get involved, potentially sponsoring the EIR program, that is an option as well. That will allow us to do more programming, getting people together, developing new activities, and that sort of thing. So again, that is just another invitation in a way that we can support you. If you can connect us to the right person within your company, we can take it from there. Questions? Comments?
There's an online question, so I'll just read it out for everybody here. So there was an online question about when we process the reimbursements for the police checks. So Erica mentioned that we will reimburse for the police checks if you're outside of the TDSB, and because we're covering that one up front. Those we process on a monthly basis. So if you submitted your expense and it's been longer than a month and you haven't received anything, just shoot me off an email so I can follow up. But expect that it should be about a month if you're in that process.
Great. Thanks, Becky. Any other questions?
Yeah. Do you need a copy of the police check form?
Do we need one? No, the school does. Yeah, thank you. That's fine. No, we're good. Okay, fantastic. Excellent.
Oh, I think that, I don't know what happened.
That's okay. Let's have a look at the link.
Did I?
I think it's mostly me and Vanessa and Becky all talking amongst ourselves. So let's do better than that.
Here it goes.
No, the links work.
Oh,
so
this is
I was speaking just a minute ago about what's in it for your company. Now, as I mentioned, we do have a longer presentation that we're prepared to give to any of your employers, any engineering employers, consulting employers, startup employers who might be interested in this. It really does, and any experienced EIR, maybe some of you that are new are starting to get the sense, figuring out what the messages you want to communicate, putting together a plan, working with your teacher, trying it out, failing, trying again. That develops leadership skills, presentation skills, project management skills, hopefully skills that you've already developed in your career, but it hones them in a completely different way. So you're developing your leadership qualities as an EIR. You're giving something back to the community. You're speaking to, basically educating other people's children. Everyone educates their own children and takes care of them, but you're going and you're giving something to the broader community and giving these kids a chance to really see that this could be their future. This could be something that they love and that they end up being great at. Whether they choose a career in engineering or just kind of keep it in their hearts and minds all their life. So you're doing something really, really great to give back to the community. And if you do it wearing the logo, either figuratively or literally representing your company gets that positive association as well. It builds a hiring pipeline. It sounds kind of funny, but especially, those kids that are in the class, they are going to be the employees. They're going to be showing up to solve those big, complicated problems that are going into, are happening in the 21st century. And we start to put it out there. GM is actually very much on board with this. They really understand they need to start building their talent pipeline. Talking about the automotive industry and how many opportunities there are in that, despite the fact it's evolved a lot from what it looked like, say, even 10 or 20 years ago, that helping them understand that this is a good place to work and GM is a good place to well. And strengthens their brand. So that's one of those sort of marketing terms that means that they're getting represented in the community in a positive way. So all of these things, you're doing this. Probably you didn't do this for your employer, right? Most of the EIRs here are not doing this because their work told them to or because they think it'll be good for their company. But you're doing that too. And we want you to be aware of that and the fact that if your boss or anyone at your work is giving you a hard time for taking a few hours away from your desk, they need to understand this bigger picture. So this is really what we're about doing, is supporting you so that you can have that time away from your desk in the classroom and participating in the program. Maybe even bring along a couple of colleagues as well. So any comments, questions on this? This is just a little taster of a bigger presentation that we have that we're prepared to give to employers if you think that they would look favorably upon that.
There was an online question.
Online question.
Somebody was asking, are EIR volunteers still being sought for the 2016-17 school year? So there is a slide coming that's going to cover that. In general, the EIR application and school application is closed for this school year, but we'll talk about a few exceptions in a minute.
Okay. Thank you, Becky. Here's our EIR calendar. Always good to know. Here we are right up here. So we're doing our orientation check. Just a note, last year, the last couple of years, we've actually done our orientation in October. But we were super organized this year, and we had a great summer intern, Vanessa, who did all of the matching during May and June and July. So now here we are in September, ready to jump into the school year, just a couple steps ahead. So continuous improvement, right? We like that. The first class visits can happen as soon as you get your vulnerable sector screening done. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have yours completed already? I've seen some going back and forth. This is really good. Do you know that some people have to wait until January to get their vulnerable sector screening completed? It's a very finicky process and sometimes takes a long time. Depends on a lot of things that are out of our control and out of your control. But once it comes back, you're ready to go. Police, yes it is. The general police check, we found the one that's required by Girl Guide, the one that's required by some other community organizations is sort of like a first level check. They require a vulnerable sector screening, which is sort of like a deeper one. It's more involved research. And it's because the kids will see EIR multiple times. And that is why we need more of an extensive check. Okay, so great. I'm thrilled to see that so many of you have got your vulnerable sector screenings already and you're jumping right into the classroom. Mid-year check-in, this is when we send out we'll send out a survey by email to both teachers and EIRs. The questions are slightly different, so you get it separately. We don't tell your batch what you said, so, we encourage you to be candid with each other as well to deliver that feedback, even if it is something that you think they could improve on, for example. Better to have that conversation than not, but feel free to flag that stuff to us as well. We want to hear, what we can do better. We want to hear how things are going. Most of all, we just want to hear stories. What are you up to? Send us photos. Maybe don't wait until January necessarily. We'd love to have it before that as well. But by January, you kind of have to talk to us. May, this is when we start to say, okay, the year is starting to wrap up. We will send you an email that says, do you want to renew for next year or not? And just to give you a sense, about 70 to 80% from 2015 have renewed coming into this year. So that's, I don't know historically what the drop-off rate is, but just so you know, we're getting pretty good at retaining people. They tend to like the program. Hope that if it's your first time that you will like the program as well and that you'll stay with us for another year. We definitely encourage that, although, of course, back to what we were saying before about it depends on you and what you can handle. We will then give you all of the call for the receipts as well. May is when we'll start to ask for them, we'll start to collect them, and we'll process all of the expense things, the stuff that you bought throughout the year. And then we do a wrap-up at the end, send them to the reimbursement, and you'll get recognition. And I won't spoil the surprise, but it'll be in the mail, and it'll be nice. And then over the summer, this is something we started doing that was new this year, doing summer webinar series. And so did any of you attend those by any chance? I thought I recognized a couple of your names. So this is our first cut at having a summer webinar series. Our idea was just to create a bit of virtual community, give you a little bit of a spotlight into a couple of different topics. I think we did a mix of sort of ideas-based stuff and practical stuff, and we're always looking for your feedback to make that better. So maybe if I could just steal a couple minutes for the couple of people that did tune in for the summer webinar series, what did you think? Good? Okay, I got a thumbs up. Love that. Over here, were you?
Yeah, it was good. Good discussion. Information was useful. It was nice to check in.
Yeah.
The boarding was moving forward. Was just a dead silver.
Cool. I think it's always tricky for us because we feel like we can't reach teachers. We don't know where they go, but they're gone over the summer. But we definitely like to try to stay in touch and stay engaged. And again, it just gives us that jump going into September. If we already know you and know what you're up to a little bit. Cool. So any questions about the calendar? Anything we missed?
Here's an online question. So somebody online was asking, when you mentioned that we want to hear from you, we want to get pictures maybe even from your class, somebody was asking if school boards have policies regarding taking photos in the classroom. So I would think that's something you need to talk to your specific teacher about.
Do any teachers in the room have something to contribute on that, Matt?
You shouldn't see the space at all, even though media forms are built. And there's even discussion now about whether it's appropriate to use maybe just to show the project instead and wave their hands or something like that.
Okay. And those are guidelines for posting on social media, for example, or okay. And is that something new, or has it always been that way and doesn't always get followed, or?
No, I guess just because we're more into social media outlets now, like a lot of teachers post on Instagram or Twitter what they're doing with their classes, and you just got to be careful because parents don't want.
Okay. Have they signed forms though?
There are media-based forms, but it's still, you still have to be very cautious.
Okay.
But yeah, and by careful, it's a real thing. We're all going to interact with kids where there's restraining orders against parents, or all that kind of stuff. So we really have to be hyper vigilant.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yes, and the whole that is fine. I'm not, media release each time, official note in Indian of each shot that they have someone, when you are doing it, then when you are teaching, you have to like this kind of thing. I didn't post was my cognitive we cannot do those. You are the teacher of those then we can put this with the noise. You can do, so as you will,
Cool.
Even where we go, the same way.
Okay, and so just in case everyone in the room couldn't hear that, some of the suggestions were that, yes, we do have to be very cautious with showing faces. We should avoid doing that pretty much.
We can show faces.
Teachers cannot show faces, so EIR should abide by that same guideline. However, there are other ways to share the experience online, going potentially with voice capture. Or I love doing this myself when I'm facilitating something. I think of the things that the kids said, like the things at the end of the day that were kind of funny, and just put those into a tweet or something. I had a kid say, I want to be a house engineer. That's great, you want to be a house engineer. Like, she was just so excited about that. And
pictures of the projects.
Pictures of projects, absolutely. Or even, it sounds like their hands, maybe?
With their hands doing stuff.
Or back to pets are probably okay.
Pictures of the instructions.
In my schools, it's really a very high quality, very good engineering. And he made a nice video showing the work of the students was, and there was a backyard of the process, and it was so great, so great to make results. That's awesome.
So videos of the project using the kids' voices, but not their faces, is very effective.
And I was just going to say, as a teacher, like, if you want to showcase any of their work or projects example or in a yearbook, that's fine, because there are specific video forms for that. So just have those conversations with the teachers.
That's great, because that amplifies the experience for the kids in school as well. That's great.
For example, can you take the engineer with environmental education, and you can say, what's the child observe?
Mm-hmm.
And
do it from the kid's point of view. Nice. Yeah. Cool. Great. Great discussion. Very useful.
Thank you, online participants, for that question.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
are you done with this slide?
I think I am. Yeah.
Cool.
So I think we've talked quite a bit about building our community. We hope that, when you get together with your match and when you go into the classroom, you don't feel like you're alone. You feel like you have this community of new friends across Ontario going through the same thing and asking themselves the same questions, trying out similar things than you are. And use social media to reach out and support each other. So something that came up earlier was this idea of a book list. Like, what books are everyone reading? Engineering-related things that you can bring into the classroom. You probably get them out of your local libraries for free. You don't even have to buy the book. I commit to creating a book list for you all and putting it on the website. That will be available. There's a new EIR who's very keen to do some tech industry, so programming and computer science-related field trips for his school. And he was asking us if anyone had ideas for field trip locations in the GTA. We don't know, but we said that we would ask all of you. So these are examples of things that these conversations can get built up over time you're welcome to go through us, but to be honest, it's a lot faster for you to just all talk amongst yourselves. We encourage you to use the LinkedIn group for that. Use social media, interact amongst yourselves that way. So I'm going to also put in a pitch for National Engineering Month, aka NEM. Those of us that have been doing it for a while know it is National Engineering Month, it's NEM. It is all across the country. There are approximately 500 events that happen during the March, coast to coast. In Ontario, we do about 300 of them. So Ontario is a hotbed of National Engineering Month activity. Very proud to say that. Most of it is done by volunteers. We would love to formally invite the teachers and EIRs of the EIR program to get involved with National Engineering Month. There are a few different ways that you can do this. There is funding available if you want to do something a little more ambitious. You can get money from National Engineering Month to run something. It must be during March, and you must utilize the National Engineering Month guidelines. So we can send you T-shirts, you have branding stuff. There's a hashtag over there, NEM 2017. As long as you're sort of doing your part to the campaign and you're in line with the messaging guidelines, which the EIRs will be anyway, based on what we just spoke about, you can be considered part of the campaign, and you can be one or maybe more than one of those 300 events that are going to happen in Ontario. So we'd love to have all of you participate. We can boost our total, who knows, up to 400 events across Ontario if every single EIR gets involved. And there is also, I mentioned funding available. If you go to nemontario.ca, you can see the funding forms are actually up, and everything is due November 18th if you want to get funding. If you don't want funding, if you just want a T-shirt and you kind of want to play along at home, you probably need to let us know by end of January. But good news, who organizes the National Engineering Month campaign? It's Becky and I, together with a coalition of professional engineers of Ontario people, as well as the technologists and technicians body, that's OSEC, and OSCE, the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers, and Canada. A whole coalition of people, but we are your point of people if you want to get hooked up with National Engineering Month stuff. We're going to hold a webinar online that's all about National Engineering Month. When is it again? The 21st? Coming up this Wednesday, I believe.
And the one's for new and one's for returning.
And one's the 28th.
The 28th, I think, is new.
Yeah.
New people. So. Okay.
So Wednesday, the 28th of September, for anyone who hasn't organized before, we'll send you the link, and you can sign up if you want to do the webinar and get that information as part of the call. So your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to get involved in National Engineering Month, which we're planning now. Applications are due in November. Questions about National Engineering Month? Anyone? Like one word, National Engineering Month. Okay, great.
That is just.
You want to talk to this? The website?
Yeah, it's just the website.
Okay. So this is the front page of the website here. Hopefully, given what we just discussed, the photo is still okay. This is a flyer that we have available. You might notice T. Balashmanis, who's our sponsor this year, so we're very generous in support of the program. And effectively what that meant is that we had a summer student to do targeted matching and had time to do the program for themselves. So pretty cool to see how one simple sponsorship can make an immediate difference in the program. So this is, we have some quotes from these are all from teachers here. So if you're a teacher and you want to spread the word about the program, we can send you an electronic version of this flyer, and you can send it to your principal, to your coworkers, to your teacher friends, see if they might like to request an EIR. As Becky mentioned, we've sort of cut off matching for this year, so they wouldn't be able to participate in the 2016-17 school year, but we would love to welcome them on board for the 17th school year. Why not plan ahead?
I just realized, I think in our call to action we were going to maybe talk about Durham. You made me think of that because the only exception is Durham. Okay. So, do you want to just talk about that now? Sure. So just as I mentioned, we've cut off, and Erica just mentioned the cutoff. The only exception to that is EIR volunteers for Durham region. So if anybody knows any other people that might want engineers that might want to volunteer in Durham, please let us know. I think Erica mentioned we had like 56 schools that want to participate, which is really exciting. So we're letting them go past the deadline to try and to try and set them up with some EIRs for the year. So that was all. We're just trying to put the word out.
Cool. So again, I think they were on the home stretch of the presentation here. What we're going to do after this is go through to make sure everyone got everything they were looking for. We're going to just go through this bulletin board over there. Really what we want you to know is that we are just so impressed by all of you. The EIRs that we've interviewed, the teachers that we've spoken to have such great ideas. They're so dynamic and involved. The heart that is in this room is just incredible. And I feel kind of mushy saying that, but it's the truth. It's really impressive, and it's wonderful to have so many generous people, so many people who say, I want to give back. I've been so blessed to be an engineer, and I enjoy it so much in my career. I want others to understand that, and I want, it's very pure and altruistic impulse that is motivating our EIRs today. And the teachers that have invited them, you are the teachers that understand that big picture and understand that engineers are just people too. And it's okay for us to sort of get together and work on this bigger picture thing that we all want to see get better. We all want to see society evolving in the right direction, and technology playing a positive part in that. And we want to see kids inspiring and reaching their potential. You're all fantastic just for being here and for participating. So we want to give you a really heartfelt thanks for that. And we're just getting started. The commitment is to keep doing the work, keep showing up, keep having the conversation, try things out, and we hope that you'll have fun and find this really rewarding, and that all of the promise of all of the big ideas that have come out at this stage end up being your reality. Look forward to being part of your years to come. So there is my contact info. There is Becky. We really see that the EIR program is not just something that's fun. We hope it is fun, but it's also pretty much literally changing the world. We are shaping the engineers of tomorrow, and those engineers are going to go on to make decisions that affect the world around us in very practical ways. So inspiring the next generation is kind of our catchphrase. We love to work with that and building a brighter tomorrow, and we're very thankful for the opportunity to do this with professional engineers in Ontario. Thank you all very much.
Right there, we see on the website. So we take the permission of the EIR or the biggest order for you to see it.
They have given us the material for the purposes of sharing it, which means you have their permission.
So we don't need to go back.
You're good, but thank you for the question. Yes.
I signed up for this. I wasn't sure whether I was signing up to have an engineer to work with school or an engineer to work with class.
Okay.
Listening to this presentation, some cultures and if they should decide to offer services to another teacher,
it is okay as long as it is time that they have to give. Right. I would say if it's okay with all parties involved, yes. I think one thing that you want to be careful of is not to pressure them to do more. I would say let's give you, if you got another colleague at your school who would like an EIR, we would love to try, if you have the people, to just give you another match, to get 2 EIRs to the same school.
I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that I wasn't sure when I was signing up. Signing up my school.
Yeah.
Or whether I was signing up myself. And it sounds like I signed up myself.
Correct.
Great.
Yeah. You're going to hog your in. That's great. Yes, I would say it honestly really varies. You have some junior engineers that have a hard time, their EIT, that have a hard time getting the time, and they probably wouldn't be able to add a second class to their roster. You have retired engineers on the other end of the spectrum that come in and do multiple classes. I think we talked to them in January, and I think they had been in the classroom 37 times from September to January. We have super EIRs in there, and they're just that passionate about it, right? Yeah. So that's great if they've got the times. They work with multiple teachers at different schools. If you want to be one of those EIRs, please let us know. But otherwise, I would say just to play it by ear, because It's really both. You're signing up to bring your school on board, and you are the designated contact teacher.
And if you
force anyone else to do that.
if it does happen and another teacher's interested, even though applications are closed, I mean you're kind of your school is registered. So if we had an unmatched EIR available, I wouldn't stop it. Like we would do that match still. Yeah, just let us know. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Right. So then what happened in school is my now I'm talking about engineering. Then okay, okay, somebody else will get in. I find that the other day the second destination. Right. Okay. So we're talking about your board here. Well, it's also in the school. Okay. Just in case you put off the school, it's teachers and you change that. Then change that. Okay. So I'll be very honest with you. I'm not 100% sure why there is a requirement to teacher contact. In practice, what the teacher really emphasizes one-on-one collaboration. We don't think it's fair to ask the EIR to come in multiple times. Because if you're going to work on homework, you're not able to do that. You want to have a far regional level I think that's fair to say. What sometimes happens, though, is that teachers move from one school to another on the connection. So I think, especially like that originally, again, one more time, is that if you move to primary contact teacher, you then have a backup that hey, you can still be in your school, but you don't want to lose that school. I would say if you're having that situation where you have two very excited teachers that really should know primary contact teacher, not a primary secretary, but no, we got someone else that doesn't like it as well. This is a good place to be in. It's nice to be more like it. And if that person is able to go to classroom, that's great. Maybe not. Good. Other questions? Becky, do you want to go read off the things that they needed to leave here with, and let's just make sure that there's nothing missing? Somebody wrote lunch. Jeff, you did that. Connection. So have you made connections? Made at least one connection today. We have ideas. Sorry, Becky, just one quick note. We have this room until 3 o'clock. So if you'd like to stick around and chat amongst yourself, you're more than welcome to do so. You can make connections. Activity ideas for the classroom. So I guess really all we did here was